Alright, here we are with another video, and today we are doing a video for True Blood Season 2. I just finished it in about a week. Just like in our previous video, I started True Blood and I watched Season 1 basically all in 1 week. So just finished up Season 2 basically in 7 days. And so I just wanted to give my thoughts. So this obviously will contain spoilers for a show that's been off the air for about 10 years. And this Season 2 premiered in 2009. So it's been about 16 years for that. So if you are like me and coming to the show very late, please know that I will be spoiling major plot points in this video as I discuss my reactions to Season 2. I have the DVD here I've been watching. For anyone who doesn't know or haven't seen my other videos, I was gifted a huge box of DVDs, and in that box was the later seasons of True Blood. The person I work with gave me, I think, 4, 5, 6, and 7 or something like this. And I felt like you can't start a show without the first seasons. So I tracked down seasons 1 and 2 very inexpensively off of eBay. I think I paid $6 for each of these. Season 1 was actually in Blu-ray. Season 2 and the rest of the collection is in standard DVD, but I don't really care about that. Although the DVD or the Blu-ray does look significantly better than the DVD, but that's neither here nor there. So before we get started, this is the front of the inner. You have the outer box with the episode, with the plot description and the bonus features listed on the back. And then this is the front cover of the actual inner pack. And then this is the back. And you have, it folds out to beautiful artwork. I love the time and care, especially with older DVDs that they've come with. This comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DVDs with the entire season. The first 2 discs have 2 episodes each. The middle 3 have 3 episodes each, and the last DVD has episodes 11 and 12. So the other thing is, for anyone who doesn't know or not familiar with this channel at all, I am very heavily into physical media, and I canceled my HBO subscription recently, so I felt like spending $12 on 2 seasons of True Blood was worth it to me, and it was. So let me get to the thoughts again. If you haven't seen True Blood and you stumbled across this video somehow, please know that from this point forward I will be spoiling episodes and plot points, not necessarily in particular order because I can't keep track of everything even though I just watched it, but I just want to point out that I will be spoiling the show and giving my thoughts on it as someone who's just recently come to this series. Season 2 basically, or Season 1 ends with the voodoo lady / pharmacist dead in. So Season 1 ends with a dead body in Andy Balfour's car. You don't know who it is. We assume it was Lafayette, but as Season 2 begins, we find out it was Miss Jeanette from the pharmacy / the voodoo woman in the woods, and her heart was ripped out of her chest, and then that sort of sets the plot of the second season into motion as another person has turned up dead in this town, this time in a very gruesome fashion, and they want to know who did it. And we have Marianne at the center of all this, continuing to use her powers to sort of get the townspeople into a hallucinogenic state, and you don't really know why right away. And then it's later revealed that she is what they call a Maenad, which is basically a devil figure in Greek mythology. And she first uses her powers to She first uses her abilities to focus on Tara and keep Tara separated from family and keep her in this, what looks like it starts off as a luxurious resort, and to get her mind right. And it turns out she is manipulating her mentally along with everybody else in the town. And there are several scenes throughout the season leading up to the finale where it's just utter chaos and like just crazy, reckless abandon, wild sex parties outside, and just sheer craziness. And then the other plot that really sets this season into motion is this idea that Eric's maker, a vampire named Godric, is being held somewhere in Dallas, Texas, with that's sort of home to what they say is like the meanest, ruthless, most cruel vampires in the vampire community. And I thought this was an interesting side quest to get out of Bon Tom, Louisiana. But ultimately, as that particular plot would reveal itself, it turned out to be a little disappointing. The build up to Godric was good, and I was expecting so much more for someone that claimed to be Eric's maker, much older in terms of thousands of years older than Eric. I was expecting some all-powerful being, like a badass, and that was not the case. It ended up being sort of an interesting storyline in the sense that Suki met another telepath that was a bellhop at this hotel that they were staying at. But the Godric character, in my opinion, was very lame. He ends up sacrificing himself. He's what I would refer to as a pacifist. He didn't want the vampires taking out each other and that kind of thing, and he didn't want to go with Eric. Eric was trying to do what he could to save him, but he wouldn't have any of it. He ends up sacrificing himself, standing out in the light, setting himself on fire, and being done with it. It was actually, in the grand scheme of the story, a very short plot thread that to me ultimately felt like it went nowhere. And then you have the continuing back and forth between Eric and Bill and Suki, and Eric continuing desire to get to Suki against Bill's wishes. And this is another interesting thing to me, because I feel like Eric would take what he wants and wouldn't care what Bill has to say or think about it. If we're basing it on the hierarchy of this vampire world that I know nothing about deep vampire lore, but if you're just basing it on the show, it seems like Eric would take what he wants and wouldn't care what Bill has to say. So there's that. And Suki, in the terms of the show, seems way too bossy and gets away with so much in terms of what Bill allows. I feel like Bill would put her in her place. Not that I'm condoning that, but in terms of the show, it feels like Bill would be putting his foot down, or his fangs down, so to speak, and putting her in her place. She gets a lot of free reign as a character on the show, and I don't know if that's by design. That'll pay off later. Like I said, I don't know anything about these other seasons. I'm going in blind, so I'm approaching this as maybe this is all groundwork for a future character arc. So the main plot is, what is Marianne up to? What is going on with these townspeople? The one thing that I had that I mentioned in the first season that I really like, and they do it very well in this, is they weave a lot of plot threads together very nicely. You get to spend time with a majority of the cast in every episode and never feel cheated. You have Tara and Marianne. She meets a young man at this resort that they call it Eggs. So they build up a romance. Then you have Jason Stackhouse that goes to this retreat, this religious retreat, and he meets Steve and Sarah Newland, which are played perfectly as these like religious zealots that own like almost like TV evangelists from my younger days. Very much do as we say, don't do as we do type of crowd. Within that, he meets other religious people that are hell-bent on doing away with vampires. So they preach love and tolerance, but they have a hatred towards all things vampire, and they want to rid the world, especially Louisiana, of this evil by any means necessary. And then as Jason finds his way navigating through this cult, basically, they want to bring him into an even more exclusive version, which is really involved in killing the vampires. So it's revealed that Steve has this big stockpile of weapons and all these things to take out vampires. And Jason starts to have second thoughts about this because he has his sister who's dating a vampire, and he just doesn't want to go along with it or think it's right. And Jason continues to be one of the best characters on here. They make him perfectly flawed, but such an idiot that you can't help but really like the guy. Like, it's harmless stupidity in a lot of ways. He's not evil or nasty. He's insanely, his sexual appetite is wild, and he's not written to be like a horrible person. He quotes things, and they're always wrong quotes. I wish I made a list of the quotes that he gets wrong. And so that's a thread. So then he ends up breaking away from that, and then he finds himself at a vampire party, and one of the church cult-like followers shows up with basically it's supposed to be like a bomber vest with silver and crosses and stuff like that. He takes out himself and then does a lot of damage to the vampires and the humans that were at this party. And so that enrages Jason and empowers him to seek retribution for that and do away with Marianne. An insane amount of plot threads. I'm glancing off to the camera just because I have cast names here. I'm just trying to cover everything. Basically, the second season, like any good season, it amps up. Obviously, it takes what we learned from the first movie, amps it up. There's a lot more, in my opinion, a lot more violence in this. It's a lot more graphic. There's a scene where Marianne uses the heart, makes a souffle out of it, and Tara and Eggs are eating the heck out of it, and it's so gross to me. But basically, Marianne is revealed as a Maenad. We have Daphne as the waitress, she's confirmed as she revealed herself as a shapeshifter. She's falling in love with Sam, but she's really trying to lure him in to Marianne's grasp, because you find out that Marianne needs him in order to pull off the sacrifice and become an all-powerful being. You have the Tara situation where she is basically held hostage after a while in Marianne's grasp. Lafayette's held in the bottom of the Fantasia Club for, I think they said 3 weeks. And so he's traumatized. He gets shot in the leg. He ends up drinking Eric's blood to heal it. So now Eric can track him and feel his thoughts. Suki ends up sucking on Bill's blood. So he's got part of her. She's got part of him in her, and she's starting to have sexual thoughts about Eric. They get word that Marianne's a Maenad. So Bill goes to the Queen, played by Evan Rachel Wood, towards the tail end of the season. And she gives him ideas on how to kill this person. And her character is a delight. There's something funny about vampires sitting around playing Yahtzee for what feels like an eternity. I totally glossed over the Hoyt-Jessica relationship, which at its core is very sweet, but then he's dealing with his mother that can't stand it, and she's also susceptible to the cult of Marianne. She says things that she shouldn't say in front of Hoyt, and she disparages Jessica. Jessica ends up biting her, and to Hoyt's dismay, and it's, as I'm saying all this out loud, it sounds insanely convoluted, but as I'm watching it, I'm just enamored with how well they are able to weave these stories in and not feel like you're missing something, or they're skipping something, or they're ignoring someone. I mean, they're delicately balancing all these plot threads just unbelievably well. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. And Jessica coming into her own and getting more mature to the ways of the vampire is pretty cool. It's still not being able to quite control her urges. Hoyt not being blinded by like prejudice or anything, and really like in love with her. Sam is your sympathetic hero that tries to sacrifice himself for the greater good, and he ends up taking out Marianne at the end. And so in theory we're rid of Marianne, and I was actually waiting for a new like evil to erupt to set the tone, which it does, because Bill and Suki are on a date at the end to wrap up the season, where he rents out an entire French restaurant and they're dancing, and she goes to the bathroom and he appears to get kidnapped. And so I believe it ends that way. I believe it ends with the kidnapping, the door open up in the restaurant, and he's not there. So it's always something in this town. Evil follows this town, and I wonder if the grand scheme, the thread of the whole thing is why this town, or just for the sake of being different and turning the vampire thing on its head, they decided to set it here. So I don't know if Bon Tom is singled out as some sort of place where this stuff congregates and thrives, or it's just a location picked to make it so different from any other vampire story that's out there. Either way, I'm really enjoying it. It's funny to carry on about a show that's this old, but it's new to me, and that's sort of the beauty of this, sort of the beauty of what I like to do when I watch things on physical media. I like talking about it. I felt the ending thread with Marianne was very satisfying and correct. There's a scene where Jason poses as a god to fool the townspeople, and it is so funny and bad, and like it shows like what groupthink and like I don't know, fooling the masses when you want to believe what you want to believe. There's a lot of great parallels that still hold true today, which is interesting. A lot of times shows can feel insanely dated or products of their time. I feel like this leans into stuff that we're still arguing about today, but not being so heavy-handed where it's eye-rolling. So yeah, from what I understand, season 3 sort of is at the peak of its goodness, and then it slowly goes down. But I'm enjoying the show. I love the thread that the delicate balance between seriousness, the goriness, and the winking at the camera and embracing the silliness. Eric, I know, is probably a fan favorite, and he has the way they write some of his lines and the way he delivers them is so matter of fact. It's so serious. He's really a joy, and he, like, in the first season I didn't have much to say about him because he's not in it a lot. In this, he really comes into his own and is an enjoyable character. Definitely someone you want to see more of. Although I feel like he'd be putting Bill in his place and not putting up with as much crap as he does. We got, I mean, I'm looking at the cast of characters here, and it's just wild. So yeah, so I don't want to get into attacking every single plot point. I just want to give my overall enthusiasm for season 2. I felt like it's very strong. I did not feel like there were unresolved things, and anything sort of left unresolved or questionable. Obviously, there's more seasons to go, so I'm assuming some of the stuff is addressed then. I just find that my only complaints are that I feel Suki is too bossy and gets her way in terms of the show. And I don't think Bill or Eric would stand for it. But again, I don't know real vampire lore and the chain of command and all that. But it just feels like Suki would have been turned a long time ago. So that's my thought on that. Anyway, an enjoyable season 2. Very enthusiastic thumbs up from me. I definitely see myself rewatching these seasons again, maybe revisiting them in a couple years. The original plan was to get through the season and maybe sell off the collection because I didn't know how often I was gonna rewatch. But so far, 1 and 2 might be deserving of visiting again at some point because I find them really enjoyable. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope I covered what I needed to cover. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me about my certain thoughts of maybe things I skipped, please feel free to comment below about what your favorite episodes were in season 2 of True Blood. And stay tuned for season 3. I am taking a little bit of a sabbatical away from True Blood as I get wrapped up into some other shows and some other things. But I will be back with a review of season 3. So I hope you come back for that. And like I said, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe. I'm always talking about what I'm watching, what I'm collecting, all things physical media. And I just wanted to spend extra time with True Blood and make like a video documenting it. Since I'm coming to this so late, I thought it'd be kind of fun to revisit and make videos about a series that's almost 20 years old. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, please share this video with other physical media enjoyers. And as always, I thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye.